Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday evening with difficult cases with Dr. Nan Lu. My name is Dr. Jill Emanuel, and we'll be helping to moderate this evening. We're very happy to see you again, and if this is your first time, welcome. Tonight, we are going to be talking about a TCM perspective on frozen shoulder. So we're going to give you a little information about that in a second. Additional information can be found on two of our websites, which is tcmworld.org, and the replays can be found on grandmasternanlu.com. Again, we encourage you to go and re-listen to these videos after the broadcast is done. Tonight, we're going to be talking about frozen shoulder. It's basically a painful condition of the shoulder that really limits mobility, and it lasts more than 3 months. It's definitely found in about 5% of the population and often much more in women. And the Western treatments for frozen shoulder typically involve anti-inflammatory medication, possibly cortisol shots, and as well as potentially surgery. TCM takes a very different perspective on the treatment of frozen shoulder, and Dr. Lu is going to be telling us all about that tonight. We don't have a specific case that we're going to be talking about, but Dr. Lu is going to be talking from his years of experience treating frozen shoulder and giving us lots of information. Dr. Lu, let's get into it. Tell us a little bit about what makes the treatment of frozen shoulder different from a TCM perspective versus Western medicine.
Well, the frozen shoulder, generally speaking, there are two types of the frozen shoulder. One type of the frozen shoulder, which is most likely called a frozen shoulder, is caused by overused shoulder. Can be called injury, any kind of unnecessary force cause the tendons, cause the muscles damage, then cause the pain. That's one kind called a frozen shoulder, and long enough, then they can heal themselves. Most likely they can. You need a physical therapy, you need a massage, acupuncture, you need some kind of help to heal. The other kind of English just called the frozen shoulder, then is not just caused by the overused. It's due to the energetic processing. So the Chinese give it one of the beautiful names. They call it the half century's shoulder. 50 years old, around this time, and the shoulder might show some difficulty. So particularly this type of the shoulder pain and the nighttime caused terrible pain, and people cannot sleep. Then both in classical way or called the traditional way, we all can say are caused by cold, dampness, wind. Generally speaking, you can say that this way, the three major events, three major nature's events inside the body cause the pain. They all trigger this angle. Doesn't matter which type, right? So that's called generally speaking. I would like to point out most likely no one said it this way, because the first one caused by overuse, that's just, like a sport injury, right? How to treat a sport injury, that's the same thing. But the second one, associated with the age, right? It's the age. But this kind of frozen shoulder, most people make a mistake. Even though you can treat it by traditional Chinese medicine concept, you still treat it by cold, wind, dampness this way, then you're still missing the point, because you still treat the symptoms. The symptoms is the pain, but they are not. The second one is the most, in my opinion, is the most complicated case, the complicated pain, and also can say associated with your entire upper body's function. So that's why I say that it's the most difficult case, because we only treat the pain. We only treat the frozen shoulder. but we are missing the real issues behind this frozen shoulder. Based on this concept, as we talked about it before, tennis elbow, carpal tunnels, we always use our concept, right? Our green dragon, so this concept we based on the meridians, the diagnosis. Then we still can use this concept, location, location, location. Then your shoulder, generally speaking, we can divide as the three categories. First category is on the front of the shoulder, so everyone can feel it, or front of the shoulder, right? So therefore, you will feel the front of the shoulder have a pain. The second one is the middle of the shoulder. You will see the middle of the shoulder has pain. So this kind of pain at the middle shoulder, so will cause different kind of arrangement. You might difficult to raise for the side. You might also difficult raise at the front. Most at the front shoulder pain, you're difficult raise up at the front. Then third one is behind the shoulder, which is on the side, back. Then you're difficult to go back, right? To pull the back, touch your lower back, and the arm difficult go back, difficult put the clothes on. That's generally speaking for the three categories. But each category associated with the specific meridians, right? So for example, so if we say in the front, we can say associated with the lung and the large intestine. Then if we go to the middle one, then definitely is associated with the sun gel and the pericardiums. And if we go to the back, associated with your heart and the small intestine. Among these three categories, the most difficult part to treat is at the back one. So because each one, they are not just the pain, they are show us something else much deeper. The 50 years old, this frozen shoulder, because most studies show most frozen shoulder are associated with the woman. Now you have to think about it. 50 years old, what is this time? According to the Chinese medicine, for the women's, every 7 years is one cycle. So 7 cycles, 49. That's around this time is the menopause time. So which means until this time, your entire kidney energy already dropped. You already almost finished the entire cycle. If you don't give it additional push, your entire energy system will drop quickly. Because around this time, entire system change, the energy change. Therefore, we make a mistake. We think the frozen shoulder just the same pain, like a cold caused, wind caused, dampness caused. The real issues is not. It's the one of the, we call the, in my opinion, I will say it's the one of the natural or unnatural. Natural means your body goes through this transition, which means you are in the cross lines. The age of the 50, you have to cross, you are at the crossroads. You have to make a decision which path you're gonna go. Now you suddenly say, hey, I'm gonna go down that path. That path can get me quickly, get out. So you cross the road and getting in the wrong path. Wrong path. That path, once you get on, what's happening? Let me use the one of the concept. It's almost like your credit score drop. immediately from 800 drop to the 500. Think of this whole concept. Or you can think that you will go to the college, or your GPS average will be 8. Now you suddenly average is a C plus. Think of this way, your entire job. What's going to drop? It's the entire meridian system, your job. So which means until 50 years old, the frozen shoulder is the sign show your lung meridians function complete job to the lowest level. Therefore, even though later you can fix, and sometimes this kind of 50 years old frozen shoulder, even you don't fix, sometimes 6 months, a year, or some people takes 2 years, they naturally can heal by itself. Because even you lower this, your body still can heal itself. And then body will heal itself. We say average maybe 1 year later, and then has no more pain now. So you move on, couple months or 1 or 2 years later, then goes to the other side of the shoulder. Sometimes can be two sides at the same time. Sometimes one finish, then goes to the second one. Why? You didn't fix it. You only fix the pain, right? Just like your downgrade, your credit score dropped. What are we going to do? We have to rebuild up your credit score, right? But no one's going to rebuild it. You just fix the pain. You think it's done. And you move on. But that's a terrible, terrible mistake. Tonight, the purpose is to try to point out this. Do not think you fix the pain, your problem fix. Unless you really rebuild the meridian's function. Remember, this time I emphasize at the meridian's function dropped, downgrade. They are totally different, like a tennis elbow, carpal tunnel. Even though they are associated with the meridians, deep down, they always, any kind of condition, physical condition, always related to the meridian function disorder. But meridian function disorder, you can through the herbs, through the acupuncture, through some kind of exercise or diet, even diet or lifestyle change, you be able to readjust. But when the meridians function downgrade, without a serious patient themselves practice Qigong, acupuncture doesn't help because no one can from outside stimulate the inner meridian system, allow you to upgrade. The outside only can give you a readjust, help you heal, but doesn't push you up back to your original or before the meridians level. So that's why it's a serious issue.
So what I'm hearing you say is that where Western medicine treats this as another pain issue that has to be treated with, cortisol shots or surgery or anything, what you're saying is from a TCM perspective, this actually represents a significant downgrade in energy and meridian function, and that it is critical for future health, if you will, to be able to treat this from the root cause. And so how do we start to do that? How do we go about treating it, and how do we get the patient involved in that as well?
We have to understand, we can go back to the real look at how serious these issues. You can look at 5-element framework. So you might be able to see why they are so difficult, right? So when you look at the 5-element framework, you will see lung, right? It's the lung function. What is the lung function real can do? Do we real know? See, because at this 5-element framework, we often say, hey, lung can do so many things. Because they are not just, let me put it this way, I hope everyone understand, to be a serious, understand this concept. It is so serious, in my opinion. I don't want to scare you guys. I'm just saying, just to think about your credit score dropped, that kind of concept. You are not at that level anymore. So what's that happening? So think of the lung. What is the lung can do? And then we say, okay, most of the women, right? You say this case, most of these women. The lung has one of the capability to make a beautiful skin. So which woman doesn't want to have a beautiful skin? Now think of this. Once you downgrade, so suddenly you might find, what's going on? My skin started to dry. I don't understand what's going on. And suddenly lines, particularly around the eyes, now you have more lines. What's happening? Right? Skin, the number one, for sure. Who can handle that? No one can handle that. Number two, the lung. In the Chinese medicine, we say lung has a spirit. We call the lung spirit. It's called the pore. Pore. What is the pore can do? That person, she is in charge. Entire your essence, the essence from in and out. What's that mean? That means entire essence come from the food, come from nature, come from the air, everything. From outside in, also from inside out. What does that mean? Outside in, if disconnect, that means whatever would you eat, you can spend tons of money, eat organic food, but you won't have the best result. Because what? The body doesn't absorb it. Even absorb it, lung is not going to send to the right place. Because the lung is the purpose to send all the nutrients, essence to the exactly the location, exactly the organs are required to the lung function. Now the lung get downgrade, doesn't have enough strength. Lung says, I don't have a qi to send this. It's too big. Now what do? You waste the food what you eat. That's number one. Number two, they call in and out. The out means whatever what you had inside with you doesn't send out. Do you know the kind of series of these things? That means even though you have a genetic code, you have a real good inherited wisdom, inherited qi in your kidneys or at the livers, at the bones. But unfortunately, when the lung function downgrade, the lung cannot take this and send to the right place. Now look at it again, if a 5-element framework, right? So look at the line from stomach and the spleen. Then the oral goes to the lung. Then the lung connect to the kidney. In the Chinese medicine, we say the stomach and the spleens, the whole organs create your adaptive immune system, right? Particularly Western concept, you think your immune system is so important. Your health directly related to your immune system. So therefore, your entire adaptive immune system associated with your lung function. No, I'm sorry, associated with your stomach function. your entire adaptive immune system, right? Adaptive immune system. But there are neither our immune system, which is inherited immune system, associated with your kidney function. Now the lung is between, right? You see the arrow from the stomach to the lung and to the kidney, that this kind of path. Then even though then the stomach has to be support to the kidney. Now, if the lung function is a downgrade, what's happening? So the lung cannot create this kind of relationship, be the middleman and the support from the inherited adaptive immune system to innate immune system, right? Your entire immune system function disorder because of the lung. I'll give you one more thing. So look at the 5 elements. Suppose, right, the 5 elements, the heart, pericardium, and the heart must be supported by lung. Now the lung at the lowest level, now which that means? That means the lung draws a lot of attention, asking tongues help, say, asking for your heart. Hey, please help me. I don't have energy. I'm so tired. I don't have energy. Now the lung constantly suck the energy, draw the energy for the heart. What's happening later? Heart disease, right? Number 1 killer for the woman, heart disease. You see? I give you the other angle. Look at this. Suppose lung in the 5 elements of framework. Lung, one of the job is support to the liver function, entire your emotions, right? We know the woman life need emotions. Now suddenly lung at the lowest level, as today's life, today's the modern life requires so much emotional attention. Now your lung at the lower grade. How can you support? How can you support this busy life and the crazy life? Entire life, right? And they forget about the other things, balance, cooperation. So they are all related to the lung. Now you suddenly drop the grade. So that's why without the fix, serious issues behind, then all of these physical conditions down the road will coming up, one by one coming up. You will never understand because it's the frozen shoulder. We never fix the root cause the problems.
What causes the lung to drop to that lower level overall? And then how does the practitioner start to address all of this?
Well, that's a very difficult one. Is because the age. During this time and the age until this time, your body, you make the decision, which is that you are on the crossroad. You are almost at the menopause age, and around this time, you are make a choice. Remember we say, everything's energy. All the energy has a consciousness, all the consciousness purpose, 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 purpose. So the frozen shoulder become neither levels, consciousness, purpose. So then therefore, women make the decision, I need a frozen shoulder. So it's not that I need a frozen shoulder, it's my shoulder is too heavier. I've been carrying on so many stuff on my shoulder. It's time to let go. It's too tough, too deep. I don't want to go down that path. That's so difficult to say that to the, because you say that to the women, they understand immediately. That makes sense, but they don't want to admit that is the real situation behind it. Then definitely we can say, oh, it's cold, it's hot. That's, in my opinion, still a superficial level. Still superficial level. Because at this level, you are lower. Then something is a mistake, but there are no mistakes. Concept is there are mistakes, there are no mistake. Mistake is through this processing, and maybe someone can recognize they can get their life back through the self-healing, through their own series self-healing. They might discover the new life.
So it sounds like the patient really plays a strong role, a huge role in their own self-care and their own healing and treatment. So what do our practitioners do to guide them there? What happens during the treatment of frozen shoulder from a TCM perspective?
Well, the practitioners first, they have to understand, wow, that's a serious. I make a mistake. At the beginning, when I learned the frozen shoulder, I just learned it from my master. Yeah, put the needle here, put the needle there, treat the pain. Yeah, everybody can do this. Doesn't have to. So just who can have a little bit better. But the other level is try to help the patients recognize that is the serious issue. They have to in charge. That's different level. Then you have to help the patient, right? Because it's not the full you can do. Because at the Qi level, only Qigong can stimulate the meridians. The full cannot stimulate the meridians. You're not going to go up level. You only can maintain the level. You don't continue drop. But you cannot, based on the full, you upgrade your meridians level. So that's why the practitioners first must understand this. Then when we do the treatment is the same thing. You just treat the pain, right? Based on this concept, location, you treat the pain, you always understand, the deeper down, that's always is the lung function. So first, you have to treat the pain. During the treat the pain, you build a relationship with the patients. You build a trust. The patient trusts you. They believe that you can help them go through this. Then you will guide the patients. Hey, that's a serious patient, serious issue. You need in charge. You need to take in charge. You need to do something. Otherwise, down the road, something happens. Being the practitioners must see that situations. You must see. You don't fix this one. Hey, next time the other shoulder. And after this, you will get a sciatic. Something will coming up. You will have a digestive system, metabolic function disorder. They are coming up. Just down the road, that's something else. And the lung function, that's something else. Will have this happens.
How does the practitioner go about it? What points do they target in the treatment?
If we're going to go the first one at the front, right? Because we say that's always the liver need. So we need the liver points, right? We need the liver points. We need the stomach points. Now here, I know people will ask you why you are not needle the lung. Because the lung is downgrade. Lung is not strong enough. So I cannot go to the lung. I have to go to the mother. So therefore, I go to the stomach. You see it here? That's the why I chose the stomach. Then, even though that kind of lung, I didn't do the lung, right? I don't stimulate the lung. I still put the one needle into the large intestine. So therefore, we have a liver 2, we have a gallbladder, you have a stomach, you put the 2 needles, the stomach 36, then go down in the stomach line. You definitely can find the one spot around the desk. Then you do the one stomach. Now you get the one of the large intestine 4. That's the basic. for the front. If the pain is there, some people might put it, whatever the pain is there. Go to the lower the body, you might have a better result. That's in my opinion. Then if the pain at the sun-jiao meridians, then we treated the same problem, which is the same line, stomach and the liver never change. That's the fundamental, right? So we only add, because it's the sun-jiao, then we add the pericardians and the gallbladder changing this point, right? So this point, when I say that with the book, it's different. So my opinion should be simple way is you use your whole hand, cover so the thumb will be aimed at the neck. So whatever your pinky touch the location is the changing, is that gallbladder spot. So find the spot, then add the 1 point. That means at the second one. Then the third one is the most difficult part at the back. So the back at the pain is a small intestine. So we have to go to the small intestine at your wrist. Yellow. At the small intestine here, you need 1 needle. However, if, right, everyone should really know, if the pain is at the back, it's the signs that problem doesn't fix. Down the road, the patient most likely will turn to the diabetic. That's the signs. So therefore, somehow it's pretty serious. So therefore, practitioners must will know, because they are no accidents. Location. Give us the signs we know. Down the road, if it doesn't fix, that's the issues.
Actually, can we come back to the shoulder point that we were talking about before? Can you help us to see a little bit further how to find that shoulder point? And also, do we needle that point, or can it be done by acupressure as well?
You still can do the acupressure, but the acupressure and the acupuncture is a different levels. Pressure is through the muscle. Try to stimulate the meridians. Acupuncture is use the needle, break through the muscle skins, and try to stimulate the meridians. And then the needle has more, more likely, or needle needle is a better way to stimulate the meridians, unless your thumb, you have a green thumb, or you practice some kind of qigong or some kind of strain of your thumb, then your massages will have a result. Otherwise, very difficult. That's number one. Number two, if difficult, because all of these pain, frozen shoulder, still are associated with the cold, no matter what, at the lowest level, physical level, at the materialized level, they still associate with the cold, associate with the damp. They still associate with this. Then we treat this, at least it doesn't let this problem become more serious. So you can use the moxers. Using moxer, so stimulate the heat at the locations. That's you still can do.
Okay, that's very helpful to understand. Is there also, again, is there a trick for finding that shoulder point that you could help the practitioners to see?
No, that doesn't need the trick. So shoulder is easy to find. Whatever the pain, the patient will tell you. See? Okay. Don't be too smart. Patient, they know they are 10 times more smarter than you. They can, when they raise the hand high, flying, you already know. You touch it already know where you can feel the difference. So you have to feel the difference. It's a complicated case. However, there are no accidents. The frozen shoulder doesn't come out of nowhere. There's always have other kinds of symptoms. So based on this location, and based on other symptoms, the practitioners, generally speaking, can coming out some kind of idea. Oh, generally speaking, the frozen shoulder, no matter what, if that's associated with the 50 years old, around this age, then definitely it's the lung function disorder. Lung function, when I say lung function, I take it out the lung meridians of function, right? Disorder. It's not called a disorder, it's downgrade. It's pretty serious.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned that the patient has a large role in their own self-healing. So is there a type of Qigong that can be done to help treat frozen shoulder?
Yes, I always teach the patient do the dragon standing between heaven and earth. They have to stand in there. They have to build up to this. They have to do the 4 energy gate. They try to do all the 4 because it's a serious issue.
Okay. All right. We've just put up on the screen. Energy gates that the patient can also do to help treat frozen shoulder.
Somehow they need the heat. They can use the heat to do that. You can use the marks to do that, right? Okay. Themselves massage will be very difficult. They already pain. They don't know how to massage it. Then they definitely need a professional to do that, right? They just have to, even though that's why I say here is 2 things. Practitioners help patient quickly go through this pain, through the needles, through the massages. And the patient themselves have to practice Qigong, take some herb, then sooner or later, they can quickly go through that because they must realize it's pain go away doesn't mean problem go away. That's the whole concept.
So Dr. Lu, is there anything more that you'd like to tell us about the treatment for frozen shoulder, or we can also move on to questions at this point?
I think I already say the most, the main procedures, then based on the location, they can add a specific. Now the practitioners must see big pictures. I think we covered the whole thing. They just have to see this part. Don't just focus on the pain. You have to understand. And then sometimes the patient doesn't have a patient, right? They just want to fix the pain. They move on. But be the practitioners. We must understand. We have to take responsibility, tell the whole truth, right? Even they don't take it, they still fine, but you deliver the message. That's very important. I deliver the message. You guys already listened. Then, whatever you want to do, that's not what I can control, right?
Great. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take questions now. I encourage you to raise your hand and ask a question to Dr. Lu. Please keep your questions relevant to those of a practitioner, and please do not ask questions about your own personal cases. This is for practitioners specifically. In addition, please limit your questions to 1, as we probably have a lot of questions.
Hi, Dr. Lu. My question is about something you said earlier, the function of the lung in terms of it being responsible for like managing stuff coming in, like food, sending it to the right place. That I understand, but then you also talk about it's in charge of managing sending stuff out. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
See the concept, right? So each organ, they have called the requirement, what they can do, their requirement, their duty. The lung, the spirit of the lung, the duty is allow all the essence, receive the essence, then send out, receive, then expression the essence. So one has to be in, one has to be out. That's called yin and yang. So therefore, once the lung function downgrade, then you cannot receive more, and you also cannot send out more. So that's why all the essence, even though you do have essence, you do have your inherited strength in your kidney. Now down the road, 2 years later, you might meet some kind of, they call at the Western, they might call what they call the genetic disease, right? Because it's a genetic. Then therefore, in the genetic code must have an anti-genetic code can reversed because of lung function disorder. Now you cannot receive this and send it to the right place. That's what I try to say.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Orla. Dr. Lu, there's a number of questions in the chat regarding when a person has frozen shoulder, and it's very difficult to do number 10 because they can't lift their arms. How would you recommend that they gradually lead up to it while the shoulder heals?
They still can, that they don't left it, they can drop it. The one arm they can drop it, right? The son still can do it that way, they can drop it.
Okay.
They have to do. There's no other way. So that's why they need two things side by side. They need the practitioners to help to treat the pain themselves. Also has to do the full energy gate and try to do it. The two things has to do.
Do you think you could show us a little bit more? I know it's a little awkward, but could you show, like, if a person can't lift, how they would pull their arm?
Usually you do this way, right? So the arm, the elbow go higher. But if the shoulder hurts, suppose I do the right shoulder hurts, then it's difficult to run. Then right shoulder can drop a little bit more. Left shoulder can higher a little bit. Still's okay, right? Look at that. Still's okay.
They'll get a benefit.
They still get a benefit, better than nothing. Because the Qigong practice, they are not to say, today I practice, tomorrow I can heal myself. No such a thing. The Qigong practice is the long-term investment, takes time, then slowly. Right now, everything what we do is to try to fix the pain first. The main issues. Then down the road, that's the long-term investment.
Thank you so much for this, Dr. Lu. This series is terrific. My question is, I was just wondering, is there the same level of concern if frozen shoulder is happening from overuse?
No, if overuse, then that's just overuse. Then that's not a downgrade. That's much easier because they still at the high grade, they just mixed up. They would be easier to fix because they are not a downgrade. You see, they are not, the meridians function still stay the same level. That just get accidents. They just have some kind of accidents, overused. Then that's easier to fix. Then after fix, the patient doesn't have to go to the practice Qigong. Definitely, practice Qigong is good no matter what. But that's not a serious issue. That's just, hey, that's just like a sport injury. So we can fix it. That's a sport injury. We'll move on with the life. But the other one, you cannot move on.
So that one will just kind of show up at a left field.
Then the other one just getting worse and worse. You're not going to move on. You move slower and slower.
Right. When you see that kind of thing happening, that's the kind of thing that will just suddenly show up.
Yes, that's why it's a very serious issue. So that's why I have two forms of the patient intake form. The other forms, I always ask it, do you have a frozen shoulder? Do you have a sciatic? Certain things is very important you need to know.
I also was wondering about what role does grief play in frozen shoulder? Since we talk about emotions and the role of emotions, grief is associated with the lung. What role does it play?
You just have to think of the shoulder, right? So as of today, none of the women's like ancient time carry heavy stuff, do the heavy work, right? No one. However, in the biological level, at the cellular level, still has a memory. The shoulder can carry on many heavier stuff. You carry on the shoulder, carry on the responsibility, carry on the family, carry on all the take care of the parents, take care of the children's, right? So many stuff you carry on your shoulder. Then now suddenly you have a shoulder pain. What's happening, right? Now, your frozen shoulder, you cannot reach higher. So also, it's the signs, right? Show you something higher. Do not touch. You cannot reach now, right? You real getting deep, you will see the frozen shoulders show so many different aspects of the emotional level, emotional things behind the frozen shoulder, and particularly at that age. You think even the lower, the sport injury frozen shoulder, that's different. That's much easier one. At that age, which we say that during the life, go through when you're at the age of around this time, the many women, many guys, the same thing, life go through so many stages. Then the emotions carry on so many different aspects.
There's a few questions in the chat about herbs that you would recommend for frozen shoulder. Specifically, someone's asking about related to the lung function.
The lung, I didn't do that. I just, because the lung has to be later based on the specific condition, how to heal the lung. So lung, most likely, you can't push the lung anymore because they are too low. You have to go to the mother, straining the digestive system. Usually I would do the same thing like what I treated the tennis elbow. It's the same thing. You use the one of the herb, deal the pain, help the liver, help the blood flow because it's a pain, right? It's frozen there. That means it has a stagnation, has a blood stagnation, has a qi stagnation. And the other part, you need to straining the qi for the digestive system for the stomach. So one, I give it the qi and the blood. And the other one, I use the shovel. That's the simple things. Definitely, it's down the road, someone you might be able to see that also has some kind of kidney issues, that also has some kind of, the liver issue, but sometimes here, right? Because we never count medication. A lot of patients average 2 kinds of medication. The medication has a side effect. So you have to really think through what do you deal. The most of the time, a lot of time, we are deal the pain. You are not to deal the pain, you deal the side effect of the medication.
Master, there's a couple of questions about how this also applies to men. Is there a similar system downgrade? And also, what happens if...
The same thing. As long as it's a second type of the frozen shoulder, right? Not the first type. First type, you can say you are young, you play the golf, you play things, carry things, pull things that cause the shoulder problem. That's the difference, right? We are not counting this. We just say something and gradually and get more pain, and particularly at the nighttime, had more pain, difficult to do. That is frozen shoulder. Doesn't matter, you're a man, you're a woman, same issue. It's a series, your lung meridians, which is the entire system. Think that you now is iPhone 16. Now suddenly you become iPhone 5. Boom, dropped. That's it.
Yeah, that iPhone doesn't really work anymore. So,
but they still, you can text.
Maybe. It's like a BlackBerry.
That's right. You can't do other things now. You only can text.
Right. Okay, Marie, go right ahead.
Hi, would you recommend doing medical Qigong for a situation like this? Or is acupuncture better?
Well, if someone can have a real serious training for the medical Qigong, then definitely that's gold. The Qi, because it's a meridian's function disorder. Idea is that the patient is so poor, they bankrupt. Think of this. They are fired bankruptcy. Idea that's Qi bankruptcy, not the money, the Qi bankruptcy. Then if you have someone serious, you are the medical Qigong training, they definitely for them, it's gold.
Okay.
Definitely medical Qigong is the best.
When you were saying about the spiritual aspect, like carrying a lot of responsibility, it's actually, there's a 47-year-old man and he has shoulder issues. It's not frozen shoulder, but his wife says he's always been super responsible. And now that he's getting older, has to watch out for his parents and do all this stuff. So what can you say to someone like that to help them let go? Because I feel like these issues are going to keep coming back.
You just have to allow the patient to see, this kind of relationship. He put himself, he want to carry more. But he can't. He over pushed, just like a businessman. He definitely is a businessman. And the business profit loss. Now he's lost. He doesn't have a profit. You have to allow him to see his emotion cause his energy deficient, then impact to the entire system.
Right. Because like one shoulder has an old injury, the other shoulder, from like 10 years ago, the other shoulder he injured recently, maybe 2 months ago. So he's injuring it, but I feel like it's more spiritual than anything else.
And then you should tell the wife, take a little bit, say, honey, let me help you. Let me take something, from your shoulder.
Yeah. I don't think he wants to give it up.
That's right. That's the difficult part.
Thank you.
Okay, Amber, go right ahead.
Hi, Master Lu. Thank you for this. I also, like Marie, have a client who had an old injury. She actually broke her shoulder. And now she's at a stage in her life where it's starting to cause her problems. And she's at menopausal age. And she also has a high demand job. She helps a lot of people. She's very adamant about her self-care. She comes to get shout out acupressure treatments. And so where would you begin with her treatment? Would you deal with the sports injury aspect? Would you go to the meridian energetic aspect? Would you mix in some of the emotional issues that she has of having too much weight on her shoulders? Like, where's the best lane to enter with a patient like this who has all this going on?
Deal the pain first. Then we're going to follow this kind of pain, then see what is the layer behind the layer. Right. So, there's so many old problems. We think the problem is still, just buried there. That's always comes around, goes around. Then you broken the shoulder. If it doesn't fix, there's something already there. Something can be real fixed. Most likely, generally speaking, everything's possible. But For most people, it's impossible because they've gone too far. It is. They've gone too far, but they don't want to do more. Right? It's not the same. They want to do, only they want to do what they can do. It's not what they can do, they want to do. So therefore, you can't push too much. This kind of things, in my opinion, you just help the patient deal the pain first. Then from the slowly, you are not be able have to quickly try to build up the lung qi anymore. You just have to prevent the problem doesn't getting worse. Focus is prevent the problem doesn't getting worse.
I think we are going to finish up for this evening. Thank you for all your questions. Dr. Lu, thank you again for this comprehensive overview of frozen shoulder. Next week, we'll be talking about lower back pain. So that is certainly something that a lot of people experience. So we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you again, Dr. Lu, and thank you everyone for attending tonight.
Thank you.